Hello, Yakri here with another Dominions 5 video. This time I want to talk about expansion, not actual expansion, but rather what pretenders you can expand with and how to determine whether or not a pretender is a good expansion pretender. And in particular, I wanted to cover this because there are a lot of expansion pretenders that I think you never would have considered as an option in Dominions 4. And are kind of like, it's kind of subtle how you can use them for expansion in Dominions 5. So, people coming over from Dominions 4, I think a lot of people have missed this, and it's very non-obvious if you're new to the series of games. So I want to cover these types of pretenders that you can probably expand with now, or at least like riskily expand with, that were never an option before. And I'm not sure how many of them are actually good. It's going to take me quite a while, I think, to get a handle on which pretenders I would actually use. But like in my Yomi video, was it the Yomi? Yeah, the Oni Kinshu, I would never have considered a good expander before. He's still kind of not a good expander now. It's just that what you can do now is that you can have your pretender be affected by their own bless, which is very good. And you also have a lot more bless options, in particular some that make your units very durable. Like the new Awe bless option for fire is what lets the Oni Kinshu expand. So, actually expand very effectively, and a lot of units can take advantage of this. So, for example, the who's one that actually this will work very well on? All right, the Lord of the Desert Sun, for example. I'm on Machaka right now, by the way. I could probably expand with this guy if I took 7 fire, 7 nature, right? And I take Awe, and I take Regeneration, right? Now, he has terrible base protection, so when he gets hit, it's going to hurt him quite badly, and he's going to have a bad time. He's going to pick up a lot of afflictions, so I wouldn't normally consider expanding with him to be an option at all. However, with this bless, you can probably expand with this guy. Now, should you do this when you could pick the Worm down here and get just like, it can expand baseline, or like let's talk about someone who's OP, the Earth Serpent, right? And the Earth Serpent can just go up to Earth 6, and now you've got 225 more points, and he can totally expand. Well, one reason might be that if you want the bless, right, that you're taking on the expansion pretender, well, now you need your pretender to be awake for a bless rush, and you need, what's what I'm looking for here? So you'll be able to get a use out of that bless on your units anyway, right? And it opens up a lot more options for what pretenders you can take early if you're willing to pay that additional cost. So probably the Phoenix can't. He's a little too squishy. But I bet you the Golden Lion here from Machaka could, right? He's got a Fear Aura. You can give him Regeneration. You give him Awe. He's got decent protection already. So this guy would be able to expand very well. And that's not really someone you would be surprised by. The Great Mother, you can probably expand with now as well. And before, she would just kind of get blown up unexpectedly. But with Earth Magic, you could pump it up to 7, and you could take Fortitude, so she's taking half damage from melee attacks. And at that point, she probably would not get blown up suddenly. Get Regeneration as well. She's regenerating like 38 hit points per turn. That's super good. Another thing you can note is that if you are willing to splash paths, right? Like, let's say I wanted to go like 4, 7, and 5, right? So this is pretty expensive, but like theoretically, maybe on a nation where I wanted to go death, right? And I was like actually willing to just tank it in death scale, something like this, right? What I could do here is that we can get like Reinvigoration, and we could pick up Recuperation, right? Now this guy is a pretty solid expander, right? He's got high protection, maybe not that solid. He's got low hit points, which I don't like, but he's got Fear Aura, he's got good protection, he's got multiple attacks. This is like pretty decent, right? And he's got okay pathing. Well, now he's going to have higher protection because I pumped up the Earth Magic. He's not going to fatigue out easily, and he's not going to get permanently crippled because he has Recuperation now. And we throw on Awe, and now suddenly he's like barely getting attacked at all, and he usually resists the damage when he does get attacked. And so now he's like pretty acceptable as an expander. I mean, I think the Mimicillion is probably still like ridiculously OP, so I'd probably take that instead, right? So like in my videos previously, I've definitely given the impression that there's only a couple pretenders I would consider for expansion. It's not necessarily because there aren't other options like this, or rather there aren't other options like the Scorpion King over the Mimicillion, for example. It's just that these options are ridiculously good. Like the Mimicillion with Awe, he has a Fear Aura, he has 18 base protection, he's got 118 hit points, he's not dying to normal units. Once he goes Berserk, his protection is going through the roof, and units are almost never attacking him, and you've also, it's actually even higher because you've got Earth Magic, right? And now he's never gonna rack up afflictions and go out of style during your expansion phase, and he's probably, there's almost no way he's gonna die with his 4 attacks. No, that's like crazy. Like this is almost to the point where like if you could put your Dominion over someone's capital, you could just march this guy to their capital and take it. It's super good. And for Sacreds, this is a little bit less ideal. I would almost rather have a double bless and not squeeze Recuperation on. I'd rather have like Regeneration, and like not even have the Earth Magic, or maybe take Fortitude, although someone pointed out to me that Fortitude can be negated by magic weapons. I think that's correct. I want to double check that. But yeah, and so that's a little bit less ideal. But you know, Recuperation or Regeneration can add a huge amount of power to this. And then there's all these pretenders. Most of them are going to be an option. Let's change nations, actually. Let's see. Let's go. Because Machaca has a poor selection of Titans for what I'm talking about. Let's take a... Does Baratos get a good... I think Baratos gets a good setup. Let's check him out. Baratos. What have we got? All right, so Baratos gets some more useful options. The Norse nations actually get some of the best ones, like the new best ones. So what I meant is that the Neaters, right? These guys were really good previously, but I don't like them as much now because you can't just do something weird and take them awake and expand with them because they are butt naked. That's not ideal. Whereas the Titan of War and Wisdom has actual armor, and a pretender like this with actual armor, if you could, she doesn't have really great paths for it, but if you take something like, I don't know, if we took like 7 Earth, I bet you could probably expand okay with this. Like, what would I do? Just take Fortitude. Probably just take Fortitude. And then suddenly you might be able to expand. Fire Magic, like I mentioned before, is much better. So if we take someone like... Do we have any good options, actually, for like a fire guy? I don't think we actually do. They're not very keen on the fire themes, but Regeneration also might be powerful enough to just by itself do the trick. Someone like the Titan of Serpents and Medicine. Yeah, maybe Regeneration, because she's also got the little serpents with her. That might be enough to make it quite good. Let's see. Maybe I should have gotten someone in mind before doing the video. That probably would have been a good idea. You're basically looking for 3 paths. Fire, Earth, and Nature. And Fire is the one path, is like the best one of those 3. Fire by itself probably can make someone an expander, because getting Awe... if you start with fire pathing, you can get Awe relatively cheaply. Like if you're just going for Awe, right? So like this guy, right? Just getting him Awe, how much points is that going to cost us? That's like, so we've got about, let's call it 100 points left out of like 250. So it costs us 150 not 260, about 160 points just to get Awe. And if you're putting that on your Sacred units, it's going to make your Sacred units great in melee combat. And it's going to make your Pretender get hit very little. Like, I don't know if there's really like stats on it, but maybe like they get hit as a third as much or a fourth as much as they normally would get hit. It varies by units versus a lot of units you're expanding against. Like, it's really an absurd amount less. Like any unit has like it's gonna have like a less than 50% chance of hitting you if you're talking about a Pretender that has a Fear Aura, or if you can give them a Fear Aura by giving them 5 death magic. Then the odds go even farther down, because Fear Aura damages morale, and morale checks have to be made to attack someone with Awe. So you're really looking for any Pretender that has like 10 protection, and you can give them Awe, or you can give them Awe and a Fear Aura, or you can give them Awe and boost their protection in some way, or Awe and Regeneration, even on a Pretender with poor protection, probably would be sufficient to make them expansion viable. So like, Titan Death and Rebirth is kind of a crappy example, unfortunately. There's some good, let's go to a Norse nation, because they've got some good ones that previously would have been good with equipment, but now they're probably just good in general. So like, what if I want to expand and I'm playing middle age. Oof. Well, let's go to Ulm, right? They probably don't want to do this. It's a bad idea on Ulm because they... Oh, I'm on the early age, right? Maybe in the early age, but you probably don't want to do this as Ulm because Ulm has good units and they would like to have scales. But, you know, if I can take the Titan of War and Wisdom, Titan of War and Wisdom, the Tiwaz of War, he can go like Fire 7, Earth 4, Air 4, and he can probably expand now. It's like, it's not even that many negative scales. Like, I can probably have, like, this is early Ulm, so I don't care about, I probably care about prod a little bit. So, like, boop, 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 and, we won't take growth. Wow, controversial no growth build. All right, this is cool. And we'll take Awe, and we'll take, you know, like, we take Precision as, probably take Precision, and Earth we take Reinvigoration, and now he has 18 protection and Awe, and so he's like never getting attacked, and he has a decent hit point pool. Like, remember what we did with, oh no, I didn't do that in this video. Well, the basic point is that he's going to be attacked so little that he's maybe going to lose like 20 hit points taking most provinces because he'll just kill his way through them. And he won't get fatigued, which is important. Fatigued out, which is important because if you get fatigued out, you'll start getting critical hits on you, and it's bad. But, you know, if you really want to make sure, you could go up to 7 Earth, and you could take Fortitude instead, and then he's definitely fine. You can do a similar stuff with the Asinja, I think. Yeah, probably if you take Fortitude, she's okay. She's probably too expensive because you'd have to... Air Magic isn't that great, and you're like, I've got this Air Magic... Get Fortitude, and then you want to like splash in Regeneration, and it's like super expensive. But for some nations, you might want that Bless. Probably wouldn't do it anyway. This guy's great, actually. Like Earth 4, Nature 7, Awe, right? And so he's got no armor, right? He's buck naked. But probably with Regeneration and Awe, and you pick up some Blood Surge, probably you can expand with him. Probably. Son of Fenrir. Now this is in more pretenders that are intended for expansion but can't actually do it, but now they can. So Son of Fenrir totally can't do it because he just doesn't have recuperation. He doesn't have enough armor until he goes berserk, and so he kind of gets like burst down a little bit, and without regeneration or anything, he can end up dying versus some high HP units. It's like super. I've tried it a lot in Dom 4. It's super risky to expand with this guy. But if you give him regeneration, it's suddenly not. I believe the Jotun wolves are sacred. I think they are. Could be wrong. I think they're sacred, and so they get his bless, and so they're regenerating, and he's regenerating, and it just makes a huge difference because he effectively is going to probably have like 50 more hit points over the course of a battle, and he's not going to get afflictions as easily. And not getting afflictions as easily is a huge deal. For keeping him effective throughout the expansion phase, right? Similar thing for like the Thrice Horn Boar, right? So this guy's like, he seems like he could be a good expander, but in practice he's really not because, or he really wasn't, because he just doesn't have quite enough protection. You can give him more with Earth Mage, but his hit point pool is like a little bit on the low side compared to like, look at the Earth Serpent, 210. Does he have a Fear Aura? He does not have a Fear Aura. So he has to actually kill through a lot of the units. So he's in kind of like a risky situation here, but if you take the Thrice-Horn Boar, you can just take like Nature 7, Earth 4, right? And you can give him Reinvigoration, which is going to make him, basically because of how fatigue works, long story short, it's going to make him take less damage. You can give him Regeneration, and now you have like, that's like not a terrible bless as far as discount blesses go, and you've got quite a lot of points left over for this. This is like not a crap bless, or this is not like crap scales, really. And you can still have like 5 Dominion, which is okay. And he's not going to be just, and he goes from being like a little bit too bad to expand with to being very good, like very good, because, how to put this, regeneration is really strong. That's a good way to put it. Regeneration is really good, and being able to get regeneration, it's really good on units that have high hit points. The higher their hit points, the better it gets. And so on pretenders, it's extremely good. And now you can get it on every pretender that has access to nature magic or a low path purchase cost, right? And the same thing is true for awe and fire magic. So every pretender with fire magic, you can at least riskily, like the Devis of the Sun. Let's try this. I might look like a total idiot if she just dies while I'm trying to expand with this like stupid build that's honestly a little bit crappy. Probably, with a lot of these, probably would not actually do these in game because they're not the most efficient thing, and I'd like take, actually, then yeah, I'd take something else that's like more efficient. But with some nations, there's going to be in the giant pool of pretenders, right? Because I don't have the mental capacity, genius, time, whatever whatever qualities you want to put on it to go through every pretender in this game and give you like a perfect evaluation of what the best ones are you can do with this. But there's going to be a lot of options, right, that you're gonna have. 3 protection, you know, I'm probably wrong. She's probably gonna fucking just eat it. But let's try this. let's give it a shot, right? I got all right, let's just give it a shot, okay? Yeah, okay, fuck, I'm stupid. All right, so you can't expand with just anyone. You probably need a fear aura, but what I'm trying to get at here is there are a lot of pretenders that looked not quite good enough to expand in Dominions in the past, and they're probably good enough now. She's just gonna get like, she's already like at half HP from just ranged attacks, isn't she? Because they're ignoring her they're ignoring her awe. I thought these guys would be easy, and they're just ripping her apart. Yep, fucking 100% ranged. God damn. All right, so maybe she could have expanded against the barbarians. No, probably she's fucked. Okay, not good enough. That's not good enough to expand. Yeah, the point I'm getting at is that there are a lot of, if we go to create pretender gods, pick another age, let's go to some more nations. There are a lot of pretender gods that you could expand with that you might not have expected before, like, or ones that could expand, but it was very risky. So let's take Lord of the Wild, right? I read years and years ago a guide that said you could expand with Lord of the Wild as Pangea, right? An awake Lord of the Wild, and you get a nature 9 bless for your centaurs, and you expand with this guy. Totally true. You can do that. And sometimes something just cuts his fucking head off and he dies. And that's not really true anymore in Dominions 5. And that's great because Titan Pretenders in the last part of Dominions 4's life cycle sucked dick. They suck dick in Dominions 4 right now. But this guy in Dominions 5 is actually quite good. So, like, this is all it takes, and now he's fantastic. This is a great pretender choice, right? This is probably almost what I would play in a game. I'd play this in a real game, probably. And you take, like... Alright, so boop, boop, boo. We just take, like, these good scales, and now we've got great scales. Ah, beautiful. Like, this is, like, this is a fucking lot of scales, right? And this is a strong bless. We take Regeneration. We take Blood Surge. Blood Surge for units that aren't going to be, like, one-shotting everything they see already. As soon as they kill something, 3 attack, 3 strength, 1 defense, 1 reinvigoration. That is incredibly good. That's just a fuckload of stats. And most sacred units that are decent will be able to get a kill on some trash infantry at the start of combat, and then they're going to be able to follow it up with more and more kills to keep this in effect the whole time. So, fantastic, amazing, and this guy is not going to die in the early game because with Regeneration, he was almost good enough, before, and as long as you're careful, he will definitely be good enough now. With his Berserk 5, he's got Recuperation, he summons Maenads, if you can expand into animals somehow, he's got Animal Awe, and then additionally, you know, his combat skills not the most fantastic. His defense is going to the toilet no matter what, but his attack skill with Berserk and with Blood Surge, his attack skill is going to go through the roof, and he's just going to hit things and one-shot them, and yeah, it's pretty great. And you could potentially, you know, you've got enough scales that on some nations where you can tank your scales, you could potentially get like an Earth 4 Bless or something and make this even a little bit better, right? And there are other options like that have become available now. Like the Horned one, probably he can expand too, because he's got all these fucking animals that spawn with him. Even though he's kind of in the same as that person I just tried with that died, he's kind of in the same boat as her, right? He's 8 protection. She had 3. It's a little better. He's got Berserk, which is going to help him out. He's actually going to become decent, but he has a chance to get like an arm cut off or something before he goes Berserk. And it's just generally kind of squishy, right? And he still only gets up to like elite infantry tier, like non-squishiness, But here's the thing: he's even cheaper. You just boom, we just get Regeneration. As soon as you get Regeneration, now like his odds of losing an arm or something before he goes Berserk much lower. He's gonna regenerate from any initial like hard hits he takes before he goes Berserk, and his protection goes up. And he's got that cushion of these like random spawn units, right? In addition to that, and that's enough that he's probably totally okay, right? And he's going to be able to expand. Not really an option in Dom 4. Like these were kind of options, but they were really, really subpar, like really very risky, and they're not anymore. And there's probably some other things that I've missed where you can totally do that. And there may be some suggestions I've made that aren't perfect, but I think there are a lot more units you can expand with, and a lot more units that are. Well, there are also a lot of units now that are incredibly strong. Like, look at the Green Dragon, right? Green Dragon, I mean, it's a dragon. Obviously, it should be good at expansion, right? Well, Dom 4, I would have said, not so much. You can totally expand with them, but they don't have recuperation, and so they're gonna rack up afflictions and eventually become like outdated because they're too heavily injured. And it's a little bit on the expensive side. But here's the thing: now you can just take regeneration on this thing, and it's got 125 hit points, and it's regenerating, and it's not going to get its afflictions as easily, and it can still fly, and its gas attack is actually absolute garbage. So that's kind of terrible. Probably the Red Dragon, even better. Red Dragon, you get Awe instead. Things don't attack it in the first place as a better Dragon Fire. This thing is probably fantastic to expand with. Now, Carrion Dragon, actually deceptively good as well. Earth Nature, like it has Recuperation already, but maybe you want to give your Sacreds Recuperation. Maybe you're an undead nation and you want to give your Sacreds, like, I don't know what you'd do with this. Something weird, like give your Sacreds, your undead Sacreds Berserker, and then give them like fucking reforming flesh, right? Oh, fantastic. So this video probably should have been like 3 minutes, and I think I'm at like 17, 20 minutes now, something ridiculous. So let me like recap, and maybe I'll put a little link in the description to this part of the video for just the recap. So the recap here is that in Dominions 5, there are a lot of pretenders that are deceptively good because they get access to fire, nature, or earth magic, and you can use that magic to give them a bless that makes them viable for expanding, right? When you wouldn't expect them to be, especially if you're coming from Dom 4, you would have expected them to be totally garbage at expansion, but now they can do it when they couldn't before. And and this is probably not true of any mage pretenders, the Dominion 1 pretenders. I could be wrong, there might be someone, maybe the Bitch Queen can do it. I think there's a vampire at Dom 1 somewhere. Maybe there's not. I think she's Dom 2 actually. But probably a ton of Dom 2 and Dom 3 pretenders that can now expand really viably that couldn't before. Some, like the Cyclops, that were probably already strong, that are now like absolutely ridiculous at expansion. I'm not sure I would pick this guy anyway for a variety of reasons, but like the Horned One, or the Lord of the Wild, and the Horned One over here are great examples of pretenders I would absolutely consider picking. The Mother of Monsters, weirdly enough, maybe is an option for some nations as well. Yeah, and there's bound to be a lot more I haven't really thought of, and there's some that you can make like absurdly strong, and I'm not sure always what the best option is going to be. I think for like the fire, let's show these off really quick. So the fire option is Awe for sure, right? Flame Shield doesn't really protect you in any way. You don't need more offense as any of these pretenders, really. Fortitude and Hard Skin are both options, and it kind of depends which one you want, right? I feel like for very low protection things, Hard Skin might almost be better. Hard Skin isn't outmoded by magical weapons, so it's pretty good. Especially if your pretender is like wearing armor also and does not have high natural protection, that can be good because they stack. But Fortitude is very good as well. Like half damage from attacks is very good. It's just that like at certain points, like this can create a break point where you're just not taking damage at all instead of taking half damage. Regeneration is pretty much going to be the primo for nature, but Recuperation is also an option. Like if you don't expect your pretender to need regeneration and you want to take one that doesn't have Recuperation, maybe you do want Recuperation. Another part of this is that it can be a Mage Pretender Bless to prevent old age units from inevitably becoming diseased and dying. Instead, they'll recuperate from the disease and they'll just get older and older without kicking the bucket. So this can be very helpful if you want to take an Awake Pretender and you have an option available to you that's just the right kind where you don't need regeneration, and you also have old mages. There's probably not a lot of nations that can do this, but you also don't care about your sacreds. So maybe like late age Bogers. Yeah. I might I'm not sure if there's a pretender that fits the bill, but there might be for late age Bogarus. Bogarus? Rus? It's like Rus, like Russia. I'm fucking shit at pronouncing some of these nation names. So yeah, that's what you want to get in all of those. Blood magic. None of the rest of them. None of the rest of them have viable options except for, not viable, but astral magic has an option, which is ethereal, right? So you ignore 75% of the attacks against you as long as they're not made by magic weapons. Very fucking good. However, like, who the fuck is gonna be able to take this? Do we have like an option anywhere in here? Come on, someone with astral magic, show up. She's got 1. I want like 2 points of astral. There's like almost no one here. Water magic and astral magic. That's terrible. Who can be this astral person? Fucking no one can do it. That's the problem. No one can do it. Sphinx is like almost an option, right? So she needs, it's 10 astral, I think, right? And you need to have 3 magic. Who the fuck is going to do this? Like, if you take this on her, I would say she probably can totally expand. Maybe you give her like 5 death magic too, because why the fuck not? And that expands her fear aura to like 11, very large. She can probably expand now because this is super good. You ignore 75% of attacks made against you, just straight up, and then she has okay protection already, and so now she's viable, and you can do this to almost anyone with like a decent, like an okayish chassis and astral. The thing is that it's 10 astral. That's stupidly high. You're taking 3 magic skills from it, and although it sounds like it'd be great to have on your sacred units, it's actually not, because instead someone else can take magic weapons for 2 fucking points, right? For their like 4 astral, right? And their sacreds now fucking ignore your super duper expensive sacred ability. I think it's just overcosted. All right, so I think that pretty much covers it, right? Water magic can't do shit because quickness is just not good enough to suddenly make someone an expander for the most part. Like, and it's also really expensive. Like, it's another one where you've got I think it's 10 points, right? It's 10 points. 10 points is too much. Quickness is not 10 points good. It's probably 8. It's probably 9 points good. It's maybe 9 points good. It's definitely 8 points good, but it's not 10 points good. And the other thing is that it does not really turn your pretender into suddenly an expander. It does make them attack twice as often, and it gives them better defense skill. But pretenders, for the most part, like characters that are going to be fighting one against a horde, really just can't make much use of that. Maybe with 1 or 2 rare exceptions. There's always caveats in Dominions. Yeah, now this video's gone on way too long. So I think I'm going to call it good there. The recap is there are lots of pretenders out there where you can slide in a fire for awe, earth for fortitude or hard skin, natural protection boost, whatever it's called, or nature for recuperation / regeneration. And that will allow them to become an awake expander. Awake expanders are super good, especially if you also have sacred units that you're getting benefit for. This is very rarely a good idea if you don't have sacreds to take advantage of it, but it can be a fantastic idea when combined with a sacred rush for nations like Mictlan, or even like Middle Marignan. Or Middle Pangea is a great candidate as well because of how particularly fantastic the Lord of the Wild and the Horned One have gotten. There may be other pretenders that previously weren't that fantastic that are now really fantastic because of this change. So, you know, good luck looking for them yourself. I hope I've given you the tools to do so. Yeah, sorry for rambling so long. Maybe someday I'll be good at making fast videos, but I doubt it. Have a nice day.